Addition of real numbers using a number line. On a number line, we find the first add-in, and then if we're adding a positive, we move to the right on the number line. If we're adding a negative, then we move to the left on the number line. Add-ins are the two things that we are adding, and we find the first one, that in this case you see up here, this would be -6. So we're going to find that on a number line. Let's see how this works by using our number line. Okay, so we start by finding -6 on the number line. Again, the negatives are less than 0. Here is -6. Then we're going to add a -12. And again, when we add a negative, we're going to move to the left. So here we're going to add -12. That's a -5, a -10, 11, 12. Here is where we end up. That's -18. When we added the two negative numbers, we combined them and we are moved to the left. All right, let's try this one. Maybe I can try to pick a different color here. If I start at 10 is my first point, and then I'm going to move 5 and -5, so I move to the left 5, and I end up here at 5. So 10 plus a -5, that gives me a +5. All right, let's try another one, and I'm not sure if I can have a different color here. Let's pick red. Okay, so if I start now at -5 and I'm going to move, I'm adding a +10, I'm going to move to the right 10. So from here I go 5, 10. What do you know? I end up also at 5. But that really isn't surprising to us, is it? Because we know when we add numbers, we can switch them around using the commutative property. So 10 plus a -5 is the same as -5 plus 10. We'll also see that we can change any negative or any subtraction problem into addition of the opposite. So for instance, what if I had the problem 10 minus 5? Well, that we will find out is the same as 10 plus the opposite of 5, which is -5. Those two things are the same thing. We can change any subtraction problem into the addition of the opposite. And we'll see that in a little bit when we do more with subtraction. So now we can see, again, our rule for adding real numbers. We start by locating the first, and then if we're adding a negative, we move to the left. If we're adding a positive, we move to the right. Addition of real numbers. Adding real numbers with the same sign. When we add two numbers with the same sign, we add the absolute values of the numbers and then apply the common sign. So if I had -6 plus a -12, then I combine 6 and 12 is 18, and I apply the common sign. So both are negatives, we end up with -18. We saw this one with the number line, and we see that we get the same answer. Well, let's add two that have a different sign, and let's see what we get with that. Adding two numbers with a different sign, we subtract the smaller absolute value from the larger absolute value and apply the sign of the number having the greater absolute value. So if I have 10 plus a -5, I find the difference between them. I take the smaller one, 5, from the larger one, 10. So 10 minus 5, the difference between those is 5. And in this case, my 10 is the greater absolute value, and so my sign is positive. Now generally we don't leave it with the positive sign. It just, I'm using it here for effect. All right, let's try another and see what we get. Okay, so two different signs. 105 plus 90. We find the difference between the two absolute values. So 105 minus 90. We take the smaller from the larger. That's going to give me 15. And now the sign I need out here is the greater absolute value. So we can see that 105 is definitely greater than 90. So, and its sign is negative. So this becomes -15. That's how we add real numbers. Subtraction of real numbers. Any subtraction problem can be changed into addition of the opposite, and then we apply the same rules we had for addition. So in general terms, A minus B equals A plus the opposite of B. Again, A minus B is the same as A plus the opposite of B. We learned that the opposite of B, we take the negative of B to find the opposite of B. Well, let's look at some examples. All right, so 23 minus 11. Well, that is the same as 23 plus a negative 11. 23 plus a negative, we have two numbers with different signs, so we take the difference between them. 23 minus 11 is 12, and then the 23 is greater, so we know that this is a positive 12. So we find the difference between 23 and 23 minus 11 is the same as 23 plus a negative 11, or 12. All right, so we can see that one. Now how about 4 minus a negative 23? Okay, so to write this, we write the first number again. In this case, that's 4, and then we change the subtraction to addition, and we find the opposite of the next number. So the opposite of a negative 23. The opposite of a negative 23 is 23. So 4 minus a negative 23 is the same as 4 plus 23, or 27. All right, how about negative 289 minus 130? Okay, this is the same as negative 289 plus a negative 130. Okay, we find the difference between, these two have the same sign, so when we have two of the same sign, we combine the absolute values and then we apply the common sign. So the common sign in this case is negative, and then we have 289 plus 130, that is 419. So negative 419. That is the difference, or the negative 289 minus 130, which is the same as negative 289 plus a negative 130. That is how we subtract real numbers.